I have a metabolic circuits workout for you. We are going to do 4 little metabolic circuits. So each circuit has 3 exercises. We'll do them 3 times. So this is cardio and strength. Every move is 30 seconds. You got this. It's going to be so good for your body. I'm going a little bit medium heavy. Grab your handbells, grab your hand weights or dumbbells and have them nearby for the strength portion of this workout. Our message today is from Colossians chapter 4, verses 7 through 17. What a long text. There's so many people mentioned in this text, and we are really going to talk about these people today and who they are. I have loved learning about these people and the ministry and all of the different things. So these are greetings. Paul is sending his greetings and greetings from all these people, special greetings to a certain people. So bear with me with this longer intro. I want to read through the text and honor the text. So you can either close your eyes and listen to me read over it, and go ahead and try to think and grasp on to these people. Tychicus will tell you about all my activities. He is a beloved brother and a faithful minister and a faithful servant of the Lord. I have sent him to you for this purpose, this very purpose, that you may know how we are, and that he may encourage you. And with him, Onesimus, our faithful and beloved brother, who is one of you. They will tell you about everything that has taken place here. Aristarchus, my fellow prisoner, greets you. And Mark, the cousin of Barnabas. Regarding him, you have received this instruction, that if he comes to you, welcome him. And Jesus, who is also called Justus. They, Aristarchus, Mark, and Justus, these are the only men of the circumcision among my fellow workers for the kingdom of God, and they have been a comfort to me. Epaphras, who is one of you, a servant of Christ Jesus, he greets you, always struggling on your behalf in his prayers, that you may stand mature and fully assured in all of the will of God. For I bear him witness that he has worked hard for you and for those in Laodicea and in Hierapolis. Luke, the beloved physician, he greets you, as does Demas. Give my greetings to the brothers of Laodicea and to Nymph and the church in her house. And say to Archippus, see to it that you fulfill the ministry that you have received in the Lord. And finally, I, Paul, write verse 18. I said 7 to 17. Here's verse 18 too. I, Paul, write this greeting with my own hand. Remember my chains. Grace be with you. That might be the longest intro I've ever done for a workout and for a message. But we are going to talk through these people. It's so good. Please get after it with me. Colossians 4, 7 through 18. All right, grab your weights nearby. Let's go ahead and get going for our warm-up. So roll the shoulders back. Were you able to think and focus on all these people? It's a lot of people. Now take and roll the shoulders forward. The way I have broken it down, and I'm including every person, every group, I'm saying that there's 12 people we're going to talk about in this workout. 12. Good job. Flap your wings, open up your arms, smile. I mean, as I've worked through this and tried to wrap my mind around all these people, it brings a smile to my face. Take your arms, big circles back. It brings a smile to my face to think about all the people that Paul partnered with in his ministry. All right, bring those arms forward. Good. So who are the people you partner with? We're not really going to go there and process all the application points today. We're not able to, but you can be thinking through that if you want. I really want to talk about these people, so many people that we're getting to honor today. And so that's going to take up, I believe, our whole message. We'll see how it goes. So side to side, side to side. Now, take your hips back and just give me a few bows. Good. We're going to bow it. I need some hip hinging today. Even our whole first round full of hip hinge movements. Good job. Good. Now just take one leg back and just tap it down and kind of hinge, but you're in a weird lunge and you're hinging this leg, bending forward. Good. Interesting little way. But hinge this leg, tiny lunge, the other leg is back. You'll feel a different kind of stretch in that leg. Good job. Just a few more, lean it down and take those arms tall, tall, above your shoulders. Raise them up. Now we're gonna take those arms down, squat down and stand it. Arms up. Touch those toes. If you can, drop that bottom into a squat and stand and raise. Drop that bottom, stand, raise. Good job. And I'm gonna keep standing to the side. I want you to give me a few deep lunges. Lunge it back. Stretch out that hip. Good job. Good, last one. All right, so take it low, up. Give me a little bit faster squats right here. Good. Got some water. You're gonna wanna have some water for this workout. Take your legs wide, over to the side, over to the other side. You can bend that leg if you want, or you can keep it straight. Have a nice little stretch in those legs. Move it. Cross down and to the opposite. Other hand behind you is okay. Good. Keep going. Now just give me a little bit of a jog. Run it out. Go side to side. And as we get going, I'm gonna do our typical bit. First little round, I'll show you the moves, and then the next 2 rounds, I'll go back to the message. You have a rest in between every circuit. All right, get a sip of water. We're gonna start the timer and grab our weights. All right, I'm gonna show you these from the front and from the side. I'm calling these dumbbell swings, not a kettlebell. These are gonna be by your side. You hip hinge, swing it up to your eyes. So, swinging movement, your arms are straight, your legs are doing the work right here. Hip hinge, squeeze your bottom as you raise it up to the eyes. Don't arch your back, but squeeze that bottom. Engage your core. That's your first move. All right, second move. We're gonna take it down and we're going to balance. You're gonna go down and then bring it up and then a shoulder press. You're gonna only have time enough to do a few of these on each side. But we're training the balance and press it up. So give me a good reach down and then press it up. I'm gonna stay to the side. Third move, you're gonna give me a deadlift, hang out there, row it, and then squeeze your bottom, stand. Deadlift, row, squeeze and stand. Deadlift, row, and stand. Good job. There's your 3 moves. Now, no break with the 3 moves. After you're gonna do them 2 more times, then we'll take our break. So, go right back to the top, and I wanna give you a summary of who all these people are. I'm gonna break it down. All right, the first 2 people mentioned, they are the messengers. We have Tychicus and Onesimus. They are the messengers. And then the next 5 people, we're just gonna call them the 5. All right, you're gonna go down on the other side. Other leg goes back and then pull it up and press. Sorry. Other leg, pull it up, press. So the 5, you have Aristarchus, you have Mark, you have Justus, and then you have Epaphras, Luke, and Demas. Sorry, Justus is not one of the 5. He's only mentioned here in Colossians. I call him the extra, Justus, verse 11. He's mentioned only in this book, but he's mentioned in this book. The 5 are Aristarchus, Mark, Epaphras, Luke, and Demas. The reason I call them the 5 is because, all right, last round, go back to this leg back. We're gonna split it halfway on this time. So they are the 5 because they're also mentioned in Philemon, and they're mentioned, many of them, in other places. We'll talk about that. So far, you have 2 messengers. Other side, you have the 5, and then you have the extra. And now, after that, we have the brothers at Laodicea, or you could call them the church of Laodicea. Then we have Nymph. She's the host of the house church. She's the host of the church at Laodicea. All right, last move. And then we have a special exhortation to Archippus. And we're gonna really talk about that. So the greetings are from the 2 messengers, the 5, and the extra. And then he's sending extra greetings to the church at Laodicea and to Nymph, who is the host. Put your weights down. You have a break. So good. How are you feeling? Take your rest. So he's sending greetings to the church at Laodicea, and then a special exhortation to Archippus, and then his very self. We get to hear from Paul as he's signing off the letter. So during this rest, you can go ahead and grab your water. I want to talk through the big picture. This letter, again, I've already told you this, is to the church at Colossae. And also, there was a letter written at the same time to Philemon, and they were both delivered at the same time. Here's something I want you to know about Philemon. He's the host of the church in Colossae. He's a wealthy church member, and he opens up his home, and he hosts the church of Colossae met in his home. So know that, all right? He's not mentioned here, but we know that, and we will talk about Philemon when we talk about Onesimus. All right, going to the second round, grab your weights. No, don't grab your weights. First move is scissors. In scissors, you do opposites. And if you really want some extra You can do plyos where you really do like jump split lunges. So you can do scissors or plyos or a little bit, a mixture of both. That's your first move. But I want you to be doing opposites. All right, now grab your weights. You're gonna take your left leg back and we're gonna do bicep curls. Take it back and do bicep curls. Good job. So, Colossians and Philemon, these two books in the Bible were written at the same time, the letters sent by the same person. All right, take that left leg back, and I'm gonna drop a weight. You can, if you want, just hold and hover and do tricep extensions. Just hold it and hover. No pulses. You just get to hold it and tricep extensions. Good. So Tychicus and Onesimus, let's talk about the messengers for a little while. Back to the top, plyos. They're the messengers. They're the ones who delivered the letter. And Tychicus specifically, he also delivered Ephesians. Now, we know about Tychicus in Acts 20, verse 4. Paul says that he accompanied, or Luke says that he accompanied him. He was with him. Grab those weights. We're gonna go to the other side. Step it back and do bicep curls. Paul sent Tychicus also to Timothy and to Titus, begging them, asking them to come to him. And so the way I would describe Tychicus is that Paul trusted him to deliver. And he was his favorite courier, and he was with him a lot. All right, I'm gonna drop my weight, hover this leg, hold that bicep, hold that reverse lunge, and do tricep extensions. Then we have Onesimus. Onesimus, he was in Rome. Oh, this is an interesting story. We don't know all the facts, but the best I can understand, Onesimus was Philemon's slave. All right, back to the top. Scissors or plyos. Onesimus was Philemon's slave, and he is the deliverer of the letters of Colossians and Philemon, and he lived in Philemon's house, who hosted the church at Colossae. All right, back to the reverse lunges. Do this side first. All right. Good job. So, many people think that he probably stole from Philemon and he fled. That he fled to Rome because Rome was a big city, and while he was in Rome, just all guessing here, not just me, but other commentaries, change sides, keep bicep curling. But while he was in Rome, somehow he started spending time with Paul. And now Paul has written a letter to Philemon all about Onesimus. But we're gonna focus here in Colossians. Onesimus is a believer now, and he's dear to Paul. And what Paul calls him is a faithful, beloved brother. All right, take it above. Small hover right here. Paul calls Onesimus a faithful and beloved brother, and he even says this: he, change sides, is one of you. Come on, this is your last bit of this whole round, and you're halfway done through the workout. Weight down, take your break. All right, before I talk about the 5, I want to talk about Justice. Justice, he's thrown in there in verse 11. But all we know is Paul includes him. And he says, and Jesus, who is called Justice, he's included among the fellow workers for the kingdom of God, and he's comforted Paul. He's included in all that. And the thing I just think here, before we start our next round, is justice is mentioned. Only here, only one time, nowhere else. And it just makes me wonder how many people were like Justice and involved in Paul's ministry. Justice was a fellow Jew. We're going to hear that. He was fellow Jew with Aristarchus and Mark and Justice, so they had that connection. But Paul does include him, and he says that they were faithful workers. This is actually a word for everybody. Faithful workers for the kingdom of God. They have been a comfort to me. That's those three, okay? So there's Justice. All right, get ready for the next one. We're going to really work side to side in this one. So, first move, we're going to hop over and reach up. Over, up. Now, this is your cardio move, so I'd love for you to jump. Jump over, jump up, jump over, jump up. If you need to, you step and reach. That's your option. Step, reach, step, reach. But if you can jump it, I want your heart rates up. Good. Jump over, jump up. Good. You're doing great. Good job. Now, grab your weights. We're going to do lateral work. So you're going to go over to the side and row it. And then over to the other side. Row. Good job. Row. Pull those weights up by your chest. Leg in the center is staying straight. And then you push it off. So strong. Good job. Last one. All right, now we're gonna do curtsies. So, alternating. For this one, shoulder raises. Because my weights are so heavy, I'm doing little L's. If you have lighter weights, you can straighten your arms. But I encourage you, shoulders, hard move. Hold your arms like L's. Last one, weights down, side to side, over, up. So then, let's talk about the 5. So, Aristarchus, Mark, and Justice, they were the 3 Jews. Remember, Justice is not included in the 5. He's the extra. Aristarchus and Mark, hang out with them. Aristarchus, I'm probably saying it wrong. Take your weights, lateral and row. He was with Paul on so many journeys. In Acts 19, he was in the city when the city was so confused, and he was actually dragged into the theater. So here we even know he is actually persecuted with Paul. Acts 20 verse 4, he accompanied Paul. He went to Troas, last one. Now, curtsies and shoulder raises. In Acts 27 verse 2, we know that he was out to sea with Paul. And now here we have it. He's in prison in Rome. Paul says, Aristarchus, my fellow prisoner, greets you. Then Mark. Oh, Mark. Weights down. One more round. Over. Up. Mark is the cousin of Barnabas. He's also known as John, or John Mark. In Acts chapter 12 and 13, he was the partner of Barnabas, and he helped prepare and do all kinds of work that they were doing in the synagogue. Remember, he's one of the circumcision. Good job. Woo! Last bit of weight, 2 more moves. We go to the side row. So Mark, he was Barnabas' partner, his cousin, and he helped get the synagogues ready. But in Acts 15, Paul had a big disagreement, and Barnabas went with Mark, and Paul and Barnabas and also Mark split, and they quit working together. Last move, curtsies and shoulder raises. You're doing such a great job. But now, yeah, we have Mark. He is a fellow prisoner with Paul. And Paul is telling Colossians, hey, I'm instructing you about Mark, that when he comes to you, maybe Paul had all his plans of greeting all the churches. Last one, weights down, take your rest. He says, welcome, Mark. In 2 Timothy 4:11, he asked for Mark. He's like, Mark, come to me. In Peter, 1 Peter 5:13, Peter refers to Mark as his son. Peter has taken him under his wing, and he calls him, Mark, my son. Take your rest. Get some water. You only have 1 more circuit set. It's going to be a good one. So, those are the Jews, and 2 of the 5. Aristarchus and Mark, they're fellow prisoners with Paul. They're Jews and Justus. Now, the other 3 of the 5 we're going to talk about as we get going on this next round. I think I can tell you, I think you've actually been working out with me long enough that you know what we're going to do. All right, squat hops. Here we go. Squat, you hop it out and jump it up. And as we're doing this, let's talk about Epaphras. Epaphras, he's the leader of the church at Colossae. He's the one who shared the gospel with him. He probably came to know the gospel when he traveled to Ephesus from Paul, and he went back and he told the Colossians, and he's the leader of the church. All right, as you grab your weights, put them out to the side, we're gonna squat and give me a kick back, and then stand. Squat down, kick it back, stand. So Epaphras, that's who we're gonna be talking about, kickbacks. These arms are going to be straight, kick them back, and then stand, squeeze your bottom. Hold that squat, give me a good kick back. Good job. Good. Now, you're going to take your legs wide, hold these weights narrow, and you're gonna squat and give me narrow presses. Now, the easiest is to go down and up. If you wanna go with me, pulse it. Down, up, down, up. These are your 3 moves in your very last circuit. We're going to talk about Epaphras. Epaphras is one of them. And Epaphras has also been a fellow prisoner to Paul. Put your weights down, squat hops. So Epaphras, we're going to talk later about his work, but just know he's included in Paul. Speaks very highly of him, and we will talk about that in our next workout. Good job. Squat hop it all the way, and then we'll talk about the other 2 of the 5 squats and kickbacks. Luke and Demas. Luke is, Paul calls him, the beloved physician. Some say he's Paul's personal doctor. He accompanied him so much. How do we know that? Because Luke wrote the book of Acts, which are a lot about Paul's journeys, and now Luke is with him. Good job. Take those legs wide. Luke is faithful. Luke is with him a lot. Let's also just talk about this about Luke. Luke wrote the Gospel of Luke. He was a disciple of Jesus and a big companion of Paul. Good job. Come on. Good. Last one. Weights down. Very last round. Finish strong with me. And then Demas. Demas is one of the 5. He was with Paul so much. He's written about in this letter and in other letters, but sad part about Demas. Come on, work all the way through. We find in 2 Timothy 4:10, last 2 moves, grab your weights. 2 Timothy 4:10 says Demas, who is in love with the present world, deserted me. Oh, breaks my heart. There was a time during this letter to the church at Colossae and in other places where Demas was faithful. Last move, good job. Give me those wide squats. 30 seconds. And what I would say for Demas, you know, in Colossians 3:1-3, we've been raised with Christ and we're called to set our minds on things that are above and not things that are on this earth. Put your weights down. And Paul says about Demas, he was in love with this present world. That is why it's so important to set our minds on things that are above. All right, give yourself a minute for your heart rate to calm down. Those are all the people that send their greetings to the church of Colossae. All right, a couple of other special people while we're letting our heart rates come down is the brothers at Laodicea. These churches were so close, the Colossians, Laodicea, Hierapolis, that they're almost considered together. And here's how we know that, because Paul's saying, greet them, and he's also saying, and after you read this letter to the church at Colossae, go read it also to the church of the Laodiceans, and see that you read the letter from Laodicea to the church at Colossae. So they are similar, they're close together, and we don't know about that letter of Laodicea. Was it a different letter with a different word? But really, what most people think is it was a lost letter. But Paul sends his greetings to the church, to the brothers at Laodicea, and I love that Nymph, the sweet lady who opened up her home to host the Laodicean church. I love that she's mentioned in the church of Colossae. All right, just like we started, this was full body. We're going to roll our shoulders. We have one more person to talk about. Archippus. Paul, it's not really a greeting. I mean, it is, because he is in the church of Colossae. Archippus. All Paul says in verse 17 to him, open up your arms and just shake out all that tension, is he says, and say to Archippus, see that you fulfill the ministry that you've received in the Lord. Take these arms and reach up. This is part of calming your heart rate down. Lower. Take a deep breath and inhale, and then longer exhale. Good job. Do that one more time. Exhale longer. All right, take your left arm across, pull it over. So at the end of all of Paul's greetings, he gives a special message, and I would even say exhortation, encouragement. Take that arm back to Archippus. I wonder how he knew to tell him this, because Paul, maybe Epaphras told Paul something about him, pulled this arm across, and now Paul is just saying, hey, say this to him, say it from me. Yeah, that's what I wonder. But who is he? Who is, take that arm back, who is Archippus? Good. We know most of this information from Philemon. If you want, as you finish the book of Colossians, feel free to go read Philemon. I want you to walk it out. Walk it out and then drop down. Stretch your hands by your chest and push up your back. So in Philemon is the one who hosts the house church there. In Philemon it says to Philemon, Aphia, now come up onto your knees and rock. And it calls, we know that that's a lady. And then it says, and also to Archippus, who's the fellow soldier, that's what he's called in Philemon, take this hand and thread it through. So in Philemon, in verse 2, Paul is greeting Philemon and Aphia and then Archippus. And for all three of them, they live in the same house because Paul says, with the church in your house, the church of Colossae right there. Come back up. So what we do know is that Archippus is a church member. And what they also believe, take this arm and thread it through, is that he might be Philemon's son. But here's the point. Paul gives him a special message, and we'll talk more about that in another workout that's specifically for Colossians 4:17. All right, put their feet together, open up your knees and stretch back. Walk it over to one side. Good job. And then walk back to the middle. Deep breathing, and walk over to the other side. Come back right here, and I want you to tuck your toes, raise up to a triangle, and pedal those feet. Try to put your heel down, other heel down. Good job. Now walk your feet and walk your hands together. Slowly, take your hands, put them on your toes and your legs, up your knees, roll it up, and stand. Good job. All right, as we are standing and as we are upright, just take your shoulder and drop it out of your ears. Drop. Open up your chest and reach behind you. Oh, Paul is giving these greetings, and reach over to the other side. Apart from Romans, this tiny letter of about even less than 100 verses, we have 11 verses devoted to people. Reach up and give me a deep lunge. Now pull those arms back and reach back. You can even look with it. Pull those hands back. Good job. Change sides. Take it up. Now reach your arms up as you step back. Pull those arms back and look back with them. Open up your heart. Open up your chest. Good. Now this time, take that leg and reach it over. Give me a good deep lunge. So all of these people, 11 verses, and the way I've divided it out, I say there's 12 people. You have the 2 messengers, you have the 5, and you have the extra that he's mentioned, and then you have the brothers at Laodicea, and you have Nymph, and then you have Archippus who gets the special word, and then finally, where we're going to end today, we have Paul. Now come to the middle, and then raise your bottom up, and again, like we did, take your hands and touch your toes and roll up, all the way up. Now hold out your hands. Lord, I thank you so much for all of these people that Paul partnered with in the ministry. And this is a beautiful picture of all the partnerships we see where people are deliverers, where Paul is fighting for slaves and saying, hey, he's one of you. We see where Paul works with Jews, the circumcision, and he also works with Gentiles, the uncircumcision. Paul has some people he just barely mentions, and then he has a faithful 5 who are with him on so many of his journeys and persecuted with him, and some of even imprisoned with him. Paul has Epaphras, who he has shared the gospel with, raised up as a church planter, and sent him out, and he has established this wonderful church. And then we see Paul, he includes people that he's never met when he greets the church and the brothers at Laodicea, also the church of Colossae. And then Nymph, I love that he gives her special recognition because she opens up her home and she's a host for the church. And then finally, I love how Paul is exhorting and encouraging someone he's never even met because he's heard something special about him and he wants to give him a word and a blessing and a calling and telling him, hey, rise up and do it. And Lord, we thank you. As we finish out this workout, we thank you especially for Paul. God, just like he asked the church at Colossae when he said, remember my chains, and how he told them, I wrote this with my own hand. Lord, I thank you that he worked hard for a church he never met, that he worked hard for fellow believers he never laid eyes on, and that he also worked hard for someone that he considered a fellow servant, Epaphras, and he worked hard to help him see this church be healthy. Thank you that he wrote it with his hands. Thank you for his chains. We remember them and we honor them. And most of all, we thank you for the grace that Paul is sending to that church and the grace that we all receive. As Paul says, grace be with you. I say, and also to you. Thank you so much for working out with me and for working through this amazing message. Who are your people? Go honor them, think about them, and love them well. See you next time.